everyone, so today I'm going to talk about Moriarty by Anthony Horowitz. I have to say that this book is freaking like special to me because first of all he's hardcover, which means that I open this, look at it. It's beautiful and amazing and it's silver like the words and yeah, it's pretty awesome. However, its content, it's not good enough. I personally don't know what happened to this book because maybe I was with high expectations because The House of Silk was pretty amazing, but this book was such a disappointment. I'm so disappointed at it, and if it wasn't for the fact that I really needed to read it for the Goodreads reading challenge because I was just one book ahead and I don't want to lose my Goodreads reading challenge, so I really needed to read this and I really needed to make the review for this book. So yeah, that's why I read it, that's why I finished it, and I was also with the hope that it might change, so perhaps it was all a big mistake and after all it was like a big plot twist in the end. And it was a big plot twist, let me tell you, but it wasn't what I was expecting. So things that I didn't like. First of all, it's not narrated by Dr. John Watson, which it's like such a disappointment because that is what makes Sherlock Holmes' adventures so special. Secondly, because of that, and because it is narrated by some American detective called Frederick Chase, I think that Anthony Horowitz didn't capture Conan Doyle's writing style. So it was quite disappointing that too, because I thought that even though this was set like century ago or 2 centuries ago, I don't know, I'm terrible at maths, I'm sorry. I've always thought that it was written this century, and that didn't happen when I was reading House of Silk. So yeah, big disappointment. And then this is really awful because, well, I was liking to crime, you know, I was reading like Gone Girl, The House of Silk, Moriarty, and now I have The Night Manager by John Le Carré, and I'm so afraid to read this book right now because this was such a disappointment, and they're like the same style, you know, they're like, well, they're fiction and thriller and mystery, and I'm so afraid to read this right now. So this is just for you to see how bad this book influenced me, because I'm afraid to read mystery novels right now, and yeah, it's just big disappointment. So the story happens after the Reichenbach falls. I think I just butchered the name, but well, it's not English, it's not Portuguese, it's not Spanish, it's not French, so I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So it happens after Moriarty and Sherlock's death, which apparently they didn't die and they forged like their own deaths at the same time, the same place. It was kind of genius, let's be honest. But still, this happens, and then we have this American detective called Frederick Chase and a Scotland Yard detective called Anthony Jones. And Anthony Jones, seriously, I've read the name like 1,000 times, but I still don't know how to pronounce it. It's awful. I hate when authors write like really complicated names because it's just, oh god, no. Anthony Jones. So let's just Mr. Jones. Yeah, it's better, Mr. Jones. So then they're like Sherlock John Watson thing. So this Scotland Yard detective is like Sherlock, and he actually has like some really twisted thing because he thinks that now that Sherlock is dead, he should read every single thing and become a better detective in order to solve crimes like Sherlock did. Yeah, that no, it wasn't interesting, I'm sorry. So these two detectives, they actually need to look for someone called Clarence Deverell, and he's like American Moriarty goes into a transatlantic trip to replace Moriarty in London. Yeah, that's how interesting it is. But actually he's actually quite interesting because he actually he shows up but not as Clarence Deverell, so yeah. And then he's afraid of going to public, so the smaller the place is, the better he is. It's usually the opposite. But yeah, so it was quite nice to see like this villain afraid of big places like a garden or something. But there are like these really huge, big deductions that Sherlock did, and I think that I'm sorry, the book is too heavy. Okay. And I think that it was such a disappointment. I'm so disappointed at this book. I was, like I said, I was with big expectations, and then, yeah, it was quite sad when I finished the book. So that is all for the non-spoilery section. I hope you read or don't read the book, because, well, I hope you at least read The House of Silk, because The House of Silk is really amazing. If you haven't read the book, well, finish this video now. That is all for today. Thank you for watching, and then if you ever read the book, come back to finish the video, okay? Goodbye! So, spoilers. So after all, Moriarty, the name, I was like almost in the end of the book, and I'm like, I still don't know why the novel is called Moriarty, because, well, Moriarty isn't showing up, so what is happening? And then after all, we find out that the American detective is Moriarty. So I have really big questions about it, and I need to ask you, if when you finished the book, did you go back to the first pages and see if it was really Moriarty? Because I didn't. I really didn't. I was like, well, yeah, it wasn't like, usually there are clues that Moriarty would be like a detective Chase, but there isn't. There isn't any. I'm sorry, I checked. There isn't. So it was like, it doesn't make any sense, actually. So it was quite bad. And then I didn't like there are like 3 final chapters, and then one of the lines of the chapter was, and then I shot him. And then we have this chapter of Moriarty telling us that he actually like was lying to us. After all, he wasn't this American detective, he was Moriarty. And then we go back. It was like, oh, so confusing. God, this book, it's, oh, I'm so disappointed in this book. I don't even have words to express my disappointment. Am I the only one who thought that Mr. Jones, and like the fact that he has like a room just for himself and he reads every single thing about Sherlock, is like, that's a stalker thing, dude. That is like, oh my god. And I really like the fact that his wife, she was so intelligent. She got to like Moriarty's, in this case, mind, and she saw that he wasn't trustworthy. And I think that is like awesome. So, and then he died, which I think is like quite unnecessary, I think, because I still don't understand why he had to kill Detective Jones, because, God, it really, the book doesn't make any sense, seriously. I still don't know if this is just 2 novels, or if there's going to be another one, or several. I have no idea, but the fact that this wasn't narrated by John Watson makes me think that if there is going ever to be like a new adventure, maybe they're not narrated by John Watson. And I'm not going to read something that wasn't narrated by John Watson, because Dr. John Watson is pretty amazing at describing everything, and that is what make me read Anthony Horowitz novels, because he really captures Canada's essence. And here, he didn't. He writes on his own style in different century, and that was it. Yeah. And I was, yeah, disappointment. Yeah. Disappointment is like the book description. Let me know what you think about Moriarty. Know what you think about the differences between Moriarty and The House of Silk. And I'm Theresa. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!